Tonight on Debate Amongst Friends, Doc and Prof go over round one of the NBA playoffs. They are winding down. We are on closeout Wednesday watch for the last few games. NFL news, including the upcoming draft and trade news with do this.
Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome to another fine edition of Debate Amongst Friends live on YouTube, Facebook, and on Periscope. Shout out to our Periscope fans out there. This is another edition of the Sports Podcast. I am the Professor John Gotti, and I'm hyped because I got my client, the reigning, defending, undisputed podcast champion, laying out B dorms, taking names with a smile on his face, and don't you dare call him Bray Wyatt. It's Doc Lesnar. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing well, and I'm willing to risk it all
For the
for the
XP.
XP. That's right. That's right. But I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I've been enjoying some basketball. We had ourselves a couple of sweeps. We had some daggers. We had a certain person with ice in his veins.
Yeah, he's been carrying around that ice in his veins for a very long time, and you even tried to compare it to the beginning of the ice in his veins. I
Oh
mean,
no, no, it wasn't just me. It was many people in the
I
media
think
making that very same comparison. In fact,
I think those
they
people
stole
are
that
crazy.
comparison from me.
Yeah, that's why I knew it was. I knew it was you.
It's always me. It's always me. But I mean, we're gonna get ourselves started. We're gonna try to do this so the Doc can watch his Rockets close out those pissant Jazz.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's do it, Bobby.
All right, so let's talk about the major story, the story that everyone's talking about today, the hot topic. The
Mm-hmm.
Portland Trailblazers complete the run out of the Oklahoma City Thunder, winning in 5 games for one, with Damian Lillard hitting a dagger to end all daggers. What would you thought about this, sir?
Well, can we first start with the media question that came out after the game? I guess Paul George started some a media frenzy in saying that it was a bad shot. Was that salt or was he? I mean, let's really think about it. I mean, it wasn't the cleanest shot.
Hmm. I don't know. Let me check. 3 grams of total fat
Mm,
with 1.5 grams of saturated fat, zero cholesterol, 75
mm.
milligrams of sodium, and that's these planters right here. But unfortunately, Paul George has way more salt in his veins. It was salt.
That's good.
It was straight salt.
Because I mean, and I said this earlier to you. I mean, if the shot doesn't go in, then we're all saying, why did he take that shot? Of course.
Exactly.
But I mean, he knows his range. He knows where he can hit from, and I mean, it looked like a dagger to me. It looked intentional.
It looked like it was a. Luckily, they. Luckily, there wasn't an OKC for this.
Oh yeah, like they
Because
were
there
in
was an
Houston for me.
OKC exactly, like when it
Yeah,
and that's what I was like. It felt like that moment, but it wasn't in Oklahoma City. And here's why: the air in that building would have been sucked out.
you're right.
Like it would have been so quiet, you could hear a pin drop. You could hear a mouse squeak inside of that arena, like it would have been devastating to that fan base.
But ultimately, I think their fan base should have. I guess this year they have to just be happy that they made it again because the team really didn't look good. You know, all we really have a chance to talk about is the triple doubles. I
That's
mean, the
the
team
only thing we
isn't
can talk about.
really, yeah, the team isn't really doing anything that spells like we're gonna win a championship. I think that ship has sailed.
Well, and one of our esteemed colleagues, Keidron Clark, stated, Kiki, stated
Mm-hmm.
over social media the other night. He was like, "What's the point?" And I'm of course paraphrasing, but what's the point of having all these triple doubles if it doesn't lead to long term successes? And it was something that
Fact.
I said, when Russell Westbrook won the MVP that season. I'm like, but what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's historical, but what does that mean? Because you're talking about a, Oklahoma City team that year that was, I believe, the sixth seed in the
Mm-hmm.
playoffs. But we're sitting here, marveling and throwing him acclimates like, oh my gosh, like, the MVP is supposed to be for the best player in the league that brings the most value to his team.
Right.
And year in and year out, and this is constructive criticism, this isn't me hating, just so
Sure.
everyone to know,
Mm-hmm.
year in, year out, Westbrook is usually in the bottom percentage when it comes to positive usage in the NBA.
Agreed.
Positive, and we're not just talking about him getting his 10 assists a game and things low. We're talking about full on usage. Like not getting the ball in his hands and doing stuff with it because James Harden has the highest usage rate. That's something different.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about having a positive effect for your team.
Right.
And this series have exposed the very same things that people like yourself, I, and even Qmart was saying about Westbrook. But we being told that we're haters. Now, let's look at last night's game as its own
Mm-hmm. Let's take a look.
as its own isolation.
Sure.
What was what was Russell Westbrook's stats? He got a triple double, didn't he?
You know he did.
Okay, so he had a triple double. That's great. What did he shoot from the field? 35% from the field. What did he shoot from three? 36% from three. He shot 11 three
Mm-hmm.
pointers. He's not a 3 point shooter. Why is he still shooting over 5 3 pointers a game? Like, if I was Billy Donovan, I would tell him to only take five threes a game. The rest of the
Mm.
time, and he has a great mid range jumper.
Great mid-range jumper.
Why is he not doing that more? He's either taking horrible 3 point shots or he is forcing the action too much. And we keep saying, yes, you got to be aggressive, attack the paint, and you can make things happen. You can get, foul calls, get onto the line, and things are great.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is if you're out of control driving the ball
Right.
and the defender backs off, it's not going to mean nothing.
Nothing at all. Now, I mean, I will say this. And this is just not us just beating up on Russell Westbrook.
No, no, we're going to save that for a whole other show.
Yeah, but I mean, the team ultimately didn't do that great. I mean, they did shoot the ball fairly well, except for free throws. They went 60%, shooting 9 for 15. But they shot over 44% from three, 54% from the field. But where they really lost the game, honestly, just a couple of rebounds. The offensive rebounds, to be exact, they gave up 13. And that seems huge to me. 13 offensive rebounds to their six. And then the turnovers, they committed 15 turnovers. The Trailblazers committed nine.
9. Yep.
You know
As
what I
well
mean?
as
So
personal
I
fouls. They committed 22 fouls.
Yeah, and it is a lot. I mean, but I think the offensive rebounds, not that I can tell because it doesn't have second chance points listed here, which I think it should, but I think that ultimately those extra possessions could have helped close out this game and help the Thunder get a win. But I don't know what this team needs to do. Obviously, they got Paul George back. They got Steven Adams. They brought in a few pieces. I don't know what they need to do. They got rid of Melo, thinking that that was a part of their issue,
Which it wasn't.
but
And
it,
shout outs to Joey for putting that out too. Immediately after the game was over, that was the first thing he put out there. He was like, "Well,
yes,
obviously it's not Mello."
right. And I mean, to be honest with you, I can't even say that it was really anyone more than just a team losing the game because I mean, I see here Grant had 16 points. Adams had 10 points. He's kind of low on the rebounds, but you know why? Because Westbrook is grabbing rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
Paul George looks like he's grabbing rebounds. Grant's grabbing rebounds. But I mean, the guy that they traded for, when they traded Carmelo Schroeder, he had 17 points. So it wasn't like they were just out there, not scoring. I think ultimately it probably came down to those second chance points. But I don't know where they need to go from here. I don't know where they would go from here. Honestly, I mean, looking at the team, I have no idea where they would go.
Well, Charles Barkley last night came up with a really good point, and I had to think about it. I had to stew on it, think about it all night, watching the lightning fall. And I don't mean the Thunder in OKC, but out here in, Texas. But he said, I think it's about time for Westbrook to become a two and
Yeah,
have
I mean,
Schroeder play the one.
I was actually just gonna say that because I see that Terrence Ferguson played 31 minutes, but he only had 3 points. And you know what? That might not be a terrible idea.
Yeah, I don't think it's a terrible idea at all. Move Paul George
Because
to the
it
three.
and it would work because I mean I don't think Westbrook has to always bring the ball up. You know, they'll just end up losing Schroeder, just like they've lost. Reggie Jackson. They lost James Harden. Obviously,
Yep.
they lost a few other people the same way, and I think it's almost time for them to reconsider how they handle their rotation.
Unfortunately, as long as they're still bringing in, fans and still making it to the playoffs with the same ball style that they're playing right now, it's not going to change.
Hmm. I mean, what can you do? What can you do? But I
I
mean,
don't
let's
know.
look at some of these. Let's look at some of these other joints here. I mean, you have the Nets falling to the 76ers. I'm sure Senor October somewhere is proud of his boys.
I mean, I'm proud of the Nets actually. People
You
looked
know,
at them, they laughed. I mean, they were a laughing stock. We both laughed too, and they managed to claw their way into the playoffs. Like, more power to you guys.
hmm
Like, that is hard to do, ladies and gentlemen. Like, it doesn't matter that the East is weak, blah blah blah. It's hard to get into the playoffs, and they came into the playoffs at the sixth seed.
hmm
So, big kudos to them. D'Angelo Russell's gonna get paid.
Yep.
You know, Honestly, I think Jarrett Allen needs to hit the weight room. He's looking kind of like how I was back in college.
Wow. Not how you were.
Yeah, I mean, and even still, like, I'll admit it. Like, I know I gotta hit the gym. Like, yeah, like, you can't be a big man and you getting tossed around like that. Like, no, it just doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and Embiid is a different monster, but I agree. Jared Allen definitely has some great. He had a great season, but I think ultimately some weight would be good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they're going to sign D'Lo back, and they're probably going to get a free agent. Hopefully, they don't overpay. Don't be surprised, and I said this jokingly, but don't be surprised if they wind up swinging for Jimmy Butler.
Hey, Jimmy saw something during this series.
You're right. He was like, that team is tough. I like them.
And the thing is, like, that this team was so gritty.
Right. They just
Granted,
had
this game, they kind of just gave up. I mean, the entire starting five had a plus minus in a negative.
Yeah,
Everyone
I
was in
see
a
that.
negative.
I see that there. They weren't playing good at all.
Like it was all just not playing well.
Yeah, it looks like the only one that had over 10 points for the starters was Chris Levert.
Who is a very good player.
He is. I think he got hurt last year. That's the only
Yep.
reason people don't really know too much about him. But
hmm
I mean, yeah, he plays very well. I think the combination of him, Dinwiddie, Russell, I think they have a good solid nucleus. And then Joe Harris. I mean, I've been following Joe since he was on the Cavs. Of course, he didn't get any burn there, but I think he has a future. It's just they just have to keep gelling together. I
hmm
think if they were to get a solid power forward or that small forward that can come in, I think they'll
I'd
be
probably
pretty
say small
good.
forward. Yeah, probably a small forward because the positions don't really matter anymore now because they had Jared Dudley who was the heart and soul of this team, by the way.
And also a nobody.
Yeah, yeah. Wait, do you want to talk about that? Do you want to comment on what he said? Like about what
I
Joel
mean,
Embiid said after that game?
I respected it though. I mean, it's true. I don't think Jared Dudley ever eclipsed role player. And I guess that's what why he was saying he was a nobody. I mean, obviously, if Jared Dudley could have gotten, Joel Embiid to be suspended for a game, obviously it would hurt the 76ers potentially more
Mm-hmm.
than the Nets. But um, that's rough. I mean, I would have went off. Like I think I would have been trying to score left and right if somebody called me a nobody.
I'm just saying, like,
Coach would have had to take me out of the game. I would have been chucking up shots every time I got the ball.
well, and it's interesting, like the analogy and how people are taking it. You know, like there's a few people that is actually supporting Joel Embiid. You know, like, well, you know, he's the next coming. Like, you know, he's one of the best players in the league right now. Like, he can say whatever he wants. But I'm more or less on the side of the other ones. And there's a lot of like old, you know, players that used to play not too long ago, actually. You
Hmm.
know, saying like, no, see, that's just disrespectful. You know, Jared Dudley played 13 years in the league. Like, if he was a nobody, he
Uh,
wouldn't even be in the league. And I wholeheartedly agree with that fact. Like a
so
nobody, you
they're going with the
know,
brotherhood.
yeah, like, but like a nobody, you know, is someone like Adam Morrison
Wow.
who turned into
I
a
guess.
nobody in the league.
Yeah, I can understand what you're saying. Um, I mean,
But
yeah,
like that was just uncalled for. You know, and luckily, you know, the game didn't go into 7 games because I felt like that would be
right.
terrible. It'd be very dangerous for them to go into heck even 6 games. And the Nets had a
Mm-hmm.
chance to take it into a sixth game.
Hmm. They did. They did.
But I mean,
I
end of
don't
the
know
day, though, I
though.
mean, Sixers move on. They'll be faced off against the next team the next series that we're gonna talk about,
Hmm.
which
Which,
shame on the media for not talking about this. But the
yeah,
Raptors and the Magic.
right. And we I didn't have high hopes for the Magic, but again, I think this is another team. You have to be, hey, congrats to them for making it because they also had to fight, just like the Nets.
I'm just saying, like we're over here acting like yes, the East was weak, but the reason why the East was weak was because of one person, but he's not there anymore.
Right. He's not there
So
anymore.
now, instead of us having a weak East, because we all know who's gonna come out the East, now
Right.
it's anyone's ball game. So a lot of these series become more compelling because people are more hungry for the win.
I mean, we also don't have to worry about the LeBron Raptors.
Yeah, but the Raptors usually make it towards like the Eastern Conference Finals anyway. So like it's not that hurt them. It was the fact that whenever they ran into the Cavs or the Magic, not the Heat, um, you know, they get completely ramshot. But it's not the case like that anymore.
Yeah, I think it would have been nice to see LeBron and Kawhi go at it. It would have been nice, but it's irrelevant because he's not there.
I know certain Laker fans might think that's still a possibility this year.
Oh my God. Somehow the Lakers are going to make it to the finals.
Yep.
But I mean, this series was fun in the beginning. I mean, I was happy to see the Magic come away with at least one game. But obviously, they don't have the firepower to, keep up with them. They're another team that could be a player or two away
Yep.
from really making something happen. Obviously, it's another team to watch. But I mean, shout out to the Raptors for being able to get it done.
And they were just consistent though,
Exactly.
like very consistent.
Yeah. And they're going to focus on defense.
Led by Kawhi Leonard, who
Yeah.
people are finally starting to give more respect to.
And I made a comment in the beginning of the year saying that, I would hoping, that he was still, as good
Well,
as, as he was. But and honestly, he's actually much better. I
yes,
think his
27.8 points per game during this series with 6
yeah,
rebounds and 3 assists.
his mid range has gotten so much better. I think he's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully I hope that he stays in Toronto. If he does go anywhere, I would hope that a team that's, let's say a team that's on the cusp of making it deeper into the playoffs gets some, like we just said, yeah, aforementioned Nets, Pistons, we're going to talk about next. A team that, has a little bit more, like they're ready. They just need
Mm-hmm.
that one more player to get them over the hump.
I 100% agree with you. And it's
You know,
going to be
I,
interesting to see. I mean, and of course, free agency is going to be coming up, but we're not talking about free agency no
why
time
not?
soon, folks.
Nope, nope.
We're
I'm
not.
just making I'm just making compelling arguments for future reference.
I know. I try
Well,
to make people understand. Like we're trying to talk about the playoffs. Like these are the
mhm,
16 best teams in the league competing for a championship. I don't care
right.
about the Vegas odds. I don't care about who's favorite. The 16. These are the elite, elite teams in
And
the NBA. Give
we've
them
already had
some.
some eliminated.
Give them some flippin' respect.
Nope, no respect for those who have been eliminated already. Get them out of here.
You know what I'm talking about, though. Like at the beginning of the
Wow,
playoffs, they were still talking about the Lakers.
it's true. It's true.
And they're still somehow, some way, ESPN are talking about the
Well,
Lakers. I don't care.
remember there was the lake full of magical tears. So I mean, that hurt a lot. A lot of people are Lakers fans. So
It's
I think that's why they
it's almost
continue
as
to bring them
painful
up.
as Spark tears, apparently.
Wow.
But that's all I'm gonna say right
Wow.
there. That's me. Getting off my soapbox right now. Like, give these teams some freaking respect. Stop talking about, Anthony Davis and LeBron James. They're not in the playoffs.
They're not in the playoffs. You're kind of sounding like Stephen A. Smith right now.
Blasphemous.
But let's look at this last series that was kind of not close, and actually a game that's closed out, and that's the Milwaukee Bucks sweeping the Detroit Pistons.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give credit to Blake Griffin.
Yes. Well, let's talk about that first. Big
He-
kudos to Blake Griffin for playing
Yeah.
injured. Like anyone who plays as a warrior, not the Warriors, not the Golden State Warriors, but as a warrior to play with
Mm-hmm.
injury, always gonna
Mm-hmm.
get my respect.
But I'm gonna call out
Mm-hmm.
Andre Drummond.
Oh yeah, I've been waiting on
He
this. I've been waiting on
he
this.
he played like Tony from Blue Chips out there,
Oh my
giving
gosh.
giving away the game. I don't even know what the heck happened, but he was playing with no energy. It just didn't look good, honestly. It really didn't look good at all.
I got nothing there.
It looked, yeah, it looked terrible.
I got nothing there. I mean, you heard off the podcast. I said he's over here playing like Roy Hibbert.
It was worse than Roy Hibbert.
And that's the worst part.
Yeah, it was way worse. Because it was like he was trying to score, but he couldn't score. It's almost like he was out of energy, like way out of energy. He couldn't move. He wasn't grabbing rebounds. He wasn't playing defense. I think there was a pick and roll situation where he was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to step up. He was like, forget that. There was a closeout on Brooke Lopez that he ran. He like walked to Brooke Lopez and then didn't even turn around to look to see if Brooke Lopez had missed. He just kept trotting along. It was so crazy.
Well, and that's on the
But yeah,
coaching staff there. Like, this is the playoffs. Like, this is a regular season game where you can try to take plays off. Like, every minute, every second of these games, no matter how many games we play, are crucial. They're crucial.
yeah, it might be time to and that stinks because Dwayne Casey just got there, so I don't know. It's gonna be time to really
Mm-hmm.
reevaluate the team and make a splash because you
I
can't be
didn't.
paying nobody that much money.
I didn't even know Zaza Pachulia and Jose Calderon was on the Pistons. By the way.
Yeah, yeah, I saw him on the bench.
Mm.
I
Mm-hmm.
saw him on the bench.
They even got Glenn Robinson the third.
You know, you know,
Yeah, he's a disappointment.
yeah.
But let's talk
But yeah,
about the
that
Bucks though. Like
yeah,
tell
the
the people
Bucks.
about the Bucks. The most consistent team in the NBA for the regular season, and so far they're looking like the most consistent team in the playoffs.
Can I just say that they look like they're built. They're built, and a few other teams are built like the Rockets. Only difference is they have a team in which everybody can shoot the three. Everybody. They had a 9-man rotation of 3-point shooters,
Mm-hmm.
and the Rockets don't have that. I mean, when I looked at this team and I saw Brook Lopez taking it, the Greek Freak was taking it, Brogdon was out there because I think he's coming back. Um, you had
Yeah, Brock will be back during the next round.
he's going to be shooting threes. You got Bledsoe. You got Tony Snell out there. I mean, Ilyasova, Mirtic. I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
have nothing but 3-point shooters. Not the best defenders, but as a team, they defend very well. But
Yes.
they're just running and gunning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we
With
get
with with
to
a with a certain freak leading the way.
yeah, so when we do get to the finals, because I do believe that they're going to make the finals. Um, I think it's going to be interesting, whichever team, which I'm hoping is the Rockets, of course, but Rockets or Warriors, it's going to be an interesting series.
I think so as well. Um, I think it was Nick Wright who said it doesn't matter who come out the East, like the Warriors are still gonna win. Like, first of all, you need to shut
I
the
don't
heck
think
up.
so.
Like,
Yeah, I don't think so.
shut up before I have my guy Brock, the Doc Lesnar, hit you with a B dorm like you never seen before. Shut up,
That's right. Shut your mouth.
because anything can happen in the finals.
Really, anything.
People
And
thought that the 0304 Lakers were unstoppable with all those Hall of Famers, and they
true.
got mollywopped by the Pistons. So anything
That's
can
true.
happen.
Extremely true. That's absolutely true. But yeah, you're right. I think the Pistons will give whichever team. I'm going on either Houston, of course, or the Warriors. I don't think anybody else is going to make it.
And I mean
That's
or
right.
the
I'm looking
Bucks.
past. No, 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 no. Houston or the Warriors
Oh,
versus the Bucks.
got you.
I don't even. I think that it would be those two teams in the West. But I think that the Bucks are gonna run. Interesting stat before we move on to the next game. Um, the Raptors. I think I saw a stat that said that the 76ers never have beaten Kawhi.
Yeah,
I think I read that somewhere. So that's going to
yeah.
be one of those media things to take a look at.
And once again, that's still
It's
regular
kind of
season stuff.
loaded.
Like I don't care. Like
Yeah,
no,
it's kind of loaded in there. It
no,
was kind of loaded in there.
yeah.
So I wanted to make
Once
sure I
again,
threw it in there.
it's
But
because they didn't pay any attention to this stuff, so now they're trying to find lowball stuff to talk about.
mhm.
Like,
Oh yeah,
how many times have we keep hearing the phrase, "It doesn't matter what you do in the regular season because the player's a
all the
whole
time,
different ball game." Like, they
all the
put up,
time.
like, yes, you could put up the season series for this year, and
Hmm.
maybe it might have some kind of impact because the team that had the advantage coming into the series, understands
Hmm.
certain things that their adversary was doing, and they took advantage of that during the regular season.
Right.
But that still means absolutely nothing because we're still in the playoffs. It's a whole different game. The game slows down.
Well, can I tell you about a team that's not no longer in the playoffs?
Which team is that?
That's the Indiana Pacers.
Yep.
The game did not slow down for them. Kyrie dribbled all over the Pacers.
Kyrie. Kyrie is looking like the Kyrie we thought he was going to become when he was playing for your Dookies. Kyrie is the
It,
most dangerous ball handler in the NBA. Look, can we agree with that?
facts. We can agree with that. I can agree with that.
Like, if I had to choose between him and CP3, I'm choosing
Oh yeah, I
Kyrie.
would. Oh yeah, I would choose Kyrie.
Not only is
I
he
like
the best
CP3.
ball handler, but he's one of the best finishers at the rim,
Agreed. Uncle Drew, all the way,
which is hilarious because I was watching Uncle Drew earlier today,
which is hilarious, by the way.
which was
Don't
my
touch
first
that.
time, which was my first time watching it, and while I enjoyed the basketball element of it, sort of,
Right. Right.
I mean the rest of it was just kind of
Yeah. Don't you
T
touch that heat.
A
Don't you touch.
S. Wait,
Don't you touch that heat.
I will say I enjoyed Reggie Miller though.
Yeah. I thought Chris Webber was pretty hilarious.
Well, and they
Preacher
also
man.
did a. You know what? We're getting off point because we're gonna start talking about
Yeah.
the movie. But
Yeah.
well, that because there's nothing to talk about because the Pacers just.
They didn't keep up. I mean, their pace wasn't good. And obviously, they missed the Oladipo, obviously, but they again, they're another team that could be a star away from really making something happen.
Yep.
And maybe Oladipo, when he comes back, whenever that is, maybe they get a home run hit in free agency, another team. But the fact that they were in the playoffs at a pretty decent, decent ranking,
Hmm.
um, I think they'll be back.
I think so too. I still have Miles Turner as my dark horse for Defensive Player of the Year because his defense has been outstanding once again. Regular season, not the playoffs.
Of course, of course.
But I feel like they're another three, getting a 3 or a 4 away
Hmm.
from being the team to beat.
Absolutely.
Because their guard play is outstanding. They got Bojan Bombardovich, who is a
Good player.
beast. He is a
Good player.
beast.
Very good player.
Like people don't understand how good he is because they don't cover the Pacers,
Right.
so you don't
Absolutely.
understand how good he is. But he's really good.
Absolutely.
But he's no
Absolutely.
Kyrie Irving, unfortunately. He's no
No,
JCP.
he,
Like Jalen
he's
Brown
not.
had a season had a series as well too.
He did. But I mean, hopefully they get better. That's all you can do. And the Celtics are going to move on. They have a pretty deep team. So I don't. I'm not. I said the Bucks are going to win, but it's not
Hmm.
going to be like a landslide. I think the Pistons might be the only team that the Bucks sweep. But I mean, I would say we look out for the Celtics. But I think if it comes down to the Celtics versus the Bucks, I think the Bucks are going to win it. But
I
that's
think it's
looking
gonna
too
go to
far ahead.
6. It's gonna go to 6.
Hey, I think Kyrie might pull it to 7.
That's possible. It's not so much as Kyrie; it's how the rest of the team deal with it.
I think they're going to be good, and I don't want to jinx anybody. I mean, I really hope that the worst team wins in the East, and then the Rockets win, of course.
Wow.
But let's jump to the teams that are still playing. We did have a game yesterday with the Nuggets and the Spurs, which is a really, really good series.
Also, people not follow are not covering it. It's another very
Yeah,
good series.
and I'm hoping tomorrow the Spurs can tie it up and take it to Game 7. Honestly, I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, because we're getting the best basketball possible.
And the worst part is that series and the series that whoever wins this series is going to play up against, which is the Portland OKC series,
Right.
were honestly the best series of the first round.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Best series of the
Um,
first round.
but shout out to the Nuggets though. I mean, really making a turn and they've had their own process. Like they've followed a similar process
Yep.
of the 76ers. Theirs just looks a little cleaner because they didn't draft all those centers, you know.
Centers, forwards.
They kind of went the opposite direction and drafted guards, but
Mm-hmm.
at least they fit.
Yes.
You know, they fit. All right, they're not just drafting, Embiid, Okafor, Simmons, what's his other guy's name? That plays for
Nerlens
the
Noel.
Thunder. Nerla, yeah. I mean, they were just drafting forwards and centers like it was nobody's business, and it just
Mm-hmm.
didn't look good. But shout out to the Nuggets. I'm pretty impressed.
They fought back.
But
They
they
fought
did.
back.
They really did. They could have caved.
They
They
could
could have
have,
caved.
but you know what? They said, you know what? We're the Nuggets. We're not going to go out like that. And this has been Jamal Murray's series.
He's good though. I think Jamal Murray is good. We've always talked about Millsap being underrated.
Very underrated.
He wasted a lot of years in Atlanta. With Josh Smith and freaking what's that other guy's name?
Jeff
Oh,
Teague.
yeah, Jeff Teague and Al Horford.
Yep.
They were loaded when you think about it.
I know, which is why I was like, well, I don't think Al Horford's going to be my top five centers because
Mm,
he's not necessarily enforcing his way to his team to win or at least
hmm
compete for a championship. Like, yeah, they became the number one seed that 1 year, but what else had they done? Nothing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, outside of that, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I hope the Spurs win tomorrow just to bring it to game seven, just to give us basketball,
Mm-hmm.
fans something to really look at.
Yeah.
Um, but honestly, I'm hoping that these closeout games end today, both of them. I hope it's over. They both get a chance to rest, and then we could just jump. You could jump into some other good basketball. But the key is honestly looking at this game, the Rockets can't sloppily win this game or to carry over to the next game. They have to win in, ridiculous fashion.
Yeah, they have to emphatically win.
Yeah, it has to be something ridiculous.
Well,
But
and I'm
I don't know.
surprised that you would say that you want the Warriors to close out tonight too.
I do. I don't. I feel bad for the Clippers because they were so. I saw the video with Doc, saying, his inspirational speech saying how they didn't think they were going to make the playoffs, blah blah blah, and he
Mm-hmm.
was popping that one bottle of champagne, and I was hoping that they would win two games, but looking at it now, it's just getting a little ridiculous.
Oh yeah,
It's getting out of hand.
which is insane because the top seeds in the West are still trying to finish.
Close, yeah, right. Trying to finish. But I think the Warriors will finish. I hope the Rockets can finish it out at home. I don't want to drag this on and make it, a thing. I don't want to go, you know what I mean? It gets to be a little too scary when it becomes a thing. So let's just close it out and call it a series.
Well, let's talk about this series real quick because that's the first game on the docket tonight.
I mean, obviously, we have to talk about the 0 and 15 shooting performance that
You said
everybody
it,
was
not me.
talking about. No, no, sure, I don't mind. I mean, I was happy with the fact that he still continued to attack the basket. That game was ridiculous, though, and if I can quote Denzel from Remember the Titans.
Whoa!
Excuse me. Remember the Titans. Um, Cheaters. Let them in. Let the boys play. cheaters. Even quoting the little girl that says, "Come on, what are you blind?"
What are
Yeah,
you blind?
it was pretty ridiculous out there, and yeah, I don't know what the heck was going on, but
I may have to watch that movie now before I go to sleep.
yeah, just like, what are you blind? I was looking for the meme, but I couldn't
What
find
are
it in
you
time.
blind?
Yeah, because it was terrible officiating, and the fact, and I think I said it, the fact that like three or four stars had like four plus fouls was just ridiculous,
Yeah.
and they
Oh,
weren't fouling, like
and
it was
I
really
mean, it goes
bad.
back to my point about how I felt like the referee play for not just these playoffs, but as well as the NCAA tournament, like was just
Hmm.
really really bad. It was
Yeah, it's rough.
pretty trash.
Yeah, this was rough because it was a point where, and maybe the NBA needs to fine more. Um, and I know this will hurt people like James Harden, who I'm not gonna lie, he does flop some. But the falling on the floor after shooting a three is getting old.
I agree.
I really, really don't like it. And the referees, I don't know if they're just being lazy or what, but
Both.
I'm looking at him like that was not a foul. Like he didn't even go anywhere near him, and we're gonna talk about, video games later, but that's actually something that happens in 2K. Like there is a specific jump shot that allows you to shoot the ball, and if it's green or perfect, you fall on the floor like that. And to me, it's just like, you know, the refs need to do better.
They do. They do. And
And
this is something I'm gonna continually talk about until they do something.
they need to do better. I mean, obviously the Jazz, came out hot. Crowder came out super hot. The other night and really gave them the spark that they needed. We couldn't get on point, so obviously we lost. Um, I know Clint Capella was battling an illness, so on and so forth, but we just had to play better tonight.
And I feel like they will. I feel like this is they're gonna close out this game. I feel like
That's good.
both teams are actually gonna close out their series tonight.
That's good.
Which
I
is
feel
why I was
good if
asking
you're.
about whether or not you wanted the Warriors to close out tonight or not, because anytime that you get your team can get a rest, but the Warriors have to play an extra game, that usually spells an advantage for your team. But I
I'm
mean,
okay.
I understand that.
I don't want the bad juju. I'm just happy that the Gotti Cloud isn't present in this situation.
No Gotti Cloud yet.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. But let's talk about the last series here. The last one. The one that really shouldn't even have gone this far. It really should have been a sweep, but, the Clippers had that magical moment.
One of the greatest comebacks in NBA playoff history.
Right.
Greatest comeback in NBA playoff history. Which, of course, ironically became a 3-1 meme because it was 31
Mhm.
points coming back
Right.
from, like, whatever.
Right. Right.
But this series is also closing out. Like, yes, it shouldn't have went. It shouldn't have gone to 5 games, but it went 5 games.
It
Now,
did.
after they lost, we had, you know, insane people talking about, well, are the Warriors in trouble?
Hmm.
Is this the recipe to beat the Warriors? Blah, blah, blah,
Hmm.
blah, blah. Without offering any facts behind it,
Hmm.
you fools.
We didn't even get a chance to really.
I really hope you're enjoying that cake that you're eating because you're gonna need to eat some pie with that, and that pie is humble pie.
I think Joel Embiid saying that Jared Dudley was a nobody was just as good as of a soundbite with as a KD saying, "I'm Kevin Durant.
You
You
know
know
who
who
I
I
am.
am." That was so wonderful.
But you want to talk what I
Um,
loved about that though? The fact that
yeah, that
he
was
said
good.
that and then backed it up the very next
He
game
really
with 38
he did.
points.
And I think he's gonna do that tonight because they know who he is.
He led almost the whole for his team in points the whole series minus game one,
Yeah,
which was Steph Curry.
I think
But yeah, this one's done. Stick a fork in him, sweep the leg,
sweep the leg,
like it's over. But
sweep
I
it.
appreciate what the Clippers have done.
Oh yeah,
You know, Patrick Beverly, who we both really enjoyed watching play.
for the last 5 years or so, I've always loved watching them. I mean, with the Rockets, with the
Mm-hmm.
Clippers, I think he's the same player, and I'm happy for him. But I mean, obviously, they don't have the skill to continue, and they probably shouldn't have made that last trade. But that's neither here nor there. I know
That's
they
fair.
weren't going to
It,
re-sign him,
it
but
is. It is what it is. It is what it is.
yeah. But ultimately, like you said, that series is done.
Over.
It's over. So with that, I mean, obviously we can kind of switch gears.
Switching gears. So I know we're about to go into the football
Draft.
field,
Mm-hmm.
but we actually had a question that I felt like we should
Oh,
just answer it because I know this was going to be a final thought. But since
sure.
you, the people, asked this question, now I have to ask it. On our Facebook group page at facebook.com/, we were asked, how do you feel about the trade of Frank Clark going to the Chiefs?
Oh wow, somebody actually asked that.
Yes.
Oh goodness! Shout out to that person for asking. I really was. I mean, I was going to talk about it, but honestly, I think it works out better for the Seahawks. I mean, I know he was a pretty good pass rusher, and the Chiefs needed a pass rusher that's not going to jump off sides in a playoff game.
Oh, no, you did not just say that.
I did, and that's live too. But I don't know. I feel like the Seahawks kind of robbed the Chiefs on this one. I mean, we're talking about a first round pick, even though it's the 29th pick overall. They're going to exchange third round picks, and then they're also going to get two 2020 second round picks, which second round picks for certain teams like the Seahawks become starters
Yes.
because their scouting team is really good. I mean, to me, Frank Clark is good. I don't know if he was worth all of that, but
No.
he's good. You
I
know,
agree. I think the price was too high. Not as
mhm,
far as the trade, but we'll talk about the signing amount.
mhm,
Like I felt like that was
right.
way too high.
Oh, you didn't like the extension.
Yes.
Gotcha. Makes sense. I mean, yeah, it is pretty ridiculous. 5 years, $105.5 million with $63.5 million guaranteed. That is pretty ridiculous. But yeah, ultimately, I mean, I think the Seahawks kind of got away with a little robbery there, but it really depends on who they can pick up with that 29th pick. Hopefully, it's somebody that'll help their team in the long run.
I agree. Especially since they got rid of their defensive coordinator. Of course, this is the Chiefs that we're talking about.
Right. Which, you can't blame them.
Well, I mean, you literally said it. I think, yeah, you said it like immediately after the game. Like, yeah, he's about to get fired.
That was the worst game of his season, possibly career, but unfortunately, it was his biggest game.
It's the
You
Super
know,
Bowl, Doc.
well, no, it was the game before the
I
AFC
know.
Championship.
Well, I meant
You
it's the
know,
game before the Super Bowl. Yeah,
it was their Super Bowl.
that's what I
And
meant
that's
though. Like,
Andy
it's
Andy
their
Reid's Super Bowl. Yeah,
yeah.
you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. But and we're just going to take a quick look at the top five picks potentially, and some other possible trades. Um, Now, last year you had the privilege and really the guts to say that Baker Mayfield would be the number one overall pick.
I was laughed. I was mocked. People said I had no idea what I was talking about. I should no longer talk about football anymore.
Hmm
I had people knocking on my door, slap me in the face as soon as I opened it up, like I was afraid to open up the door. Like it was wild.
Now, are you gonna make a wild claim this year?
Nah, I don't think it's gonna be wild. I feel like the number one overall pick is gonna be who everyone think it's gonna be.
And who's that?
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray out of Oklahoma. Two Oklahoma Sooners going back to back. That's crazy.
Yep.
I mean, even though they have Josh Rosen, you think they're going to just turn it over to Kyler Murray?
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're gonna trade Rosen.
Rosen. Gotcha.
I think that's exactly what's gonna
Okay.
happen.
I mean, what if they, you know, decide, hey, I don't know what the Cardinals really need. Obviously, I don't think we played them this year, but um, I don't know if a quarterback is what they need.
I don't think it's what
I
they
don't
need
know.
either. But their front office is just as bad as the Phoenix Suns front office. So
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
let's just leave it like at that.
Yeah, because I know some people think that, Josh Allen, the defensive end from Kentucky, could easily come in and be number one, or Nick Bosa, which I'm looking here at Charles Davis's mock draft from yesterday. And of course, he has Kyler Murray going number one. But I don't know.
Yeah, I
I
think
just find it to be
most of the
crazy.
sites that I was looking at pretty much have one and two pretty much about
Locked
the
in.
same. Yeah. Number three, I see a few discrepancies in them, but
Hmm.
I mean, for the most part, I see it's gonna be they have Quinn Williams,
Right, Quentin Williams.
but I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I could see the Jets going with Quentin Williams or Josh Allen. I think the Jets probably need an edge rusher to really create more pressure. So I really could see them going with Josh Allen. But it's really, really hard to pass on Quentin Williams because they can pair him with the defensive lineman that they have already.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, that's going to put probably the Bucks in a tough spot at five, which I'm completely okay with them trading down if they chose to do so, honestly. But number four with the Raiders, I have no idea what
I
the
have
Raiders
no
are
clue
going to
what they
do.
like. The Raiders don't know what they want to do.
Yeah, I have no idea. They have so many needs that honestly, I could see them trying to trade up for the number one overall pick to get Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not 100% sure. Could you imagine if the Raiders traded Derek Carr and their number one overall pick with whatever else to the Cardinals for the number one overall pick to draft Kyler Murray?
It could happen, which is why I'm like I can't make a wild claim. Like I felt like the Browns needed Baker Mayfield.
They did.
Like everything was pointing to that happening. Like it was gonna turn into the
Yeah.
perfect storm. Now, the season didn't turn out the way that I assumed it was gonna be,
Hmm.
but that was due to like bad management.
Agreed. Agreed. So I don't know what the Raiders are going to do, but I can see them taking somebody like Ed Oliver, the defense tackle from Houston,
Mm-hmm.
or they pick up a an offensive lineman or something. That's so weird. But if Josh Allen is there, I think they'll definitely take him. Or if Quentin Williams is there, they'll definitely take him with without a shadow of a doubt.
Without
Now,
a shadow of a doubt.
when we get to the Bucks at five, interesting news today. I saw that the Redskins were looking to trade into the top five,
Mm-hmm.
and it just so happens. I mean, I know that the Bucks are really interested in getting Devin White, the linebacker from LSU. I know Bruce Arians has said, hey, I don't really want, there's six, once in a lifetime talents that are in this draft that they really, really want to select. Um, but I wouldn't be opposed to them dropping down to 15, depending on what they can get for this particular pick. From 5 to 15 is a big jump, and they would be able to get a lot of compensation for that,
Yep.
as well as being that we don't have the money to draft in the top five anyway without releasing Gerald McCoy, which I'm not sure what's going on. Um, it would be okay if they drop down to 15, secure some extra picks, they would be able to fill a need still because there would still be some linebackers there as well as some defensive backs later on in the draft. I think I would be okay with that. If not, if they stay at five, they're a lock to sign Devin White, the middle linebacker from LSU.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I can see that
I
happening.
mean, we lost our middle linebacker, obviously, to the 49ers
Mm-hmm.
because, I wasn't paying them all that money. But, I mean, we feel a need, you know. Um, Obviously, one of the major storylines outside of the top five is when the next quarterback will go. Um, some people think that, the Broncos are going to select the quarterback, which makes sense because they just picked up Joe Flacco, and how
Mm-hmm.
long is that going to last? I personally think that the Bengals should draft a quarterback because the Red Rocket is the Red Rocket, I
I don't
guess.
know. Well, it's hard to determine what the Bengals are gonna do because the Bengals shoot themselves in the foot way too often.
New regime.
Same owner.
I don't know. Maybe he's not sold on that quarterback. He needs a new one. And then the Dolphins, of course, they have Ryan Fitzpatrick. I don't. Who knows how long that's going to last? I heard he came to camp out of shape, so I'm not sure exactly how that's going to go.
Yeah, I
We'll
can't.
see.
I can't really put much faith in them at all, bro. I just
All
can't.
right. But the draft is tomorrow, so of course we want to know. I mean, who do you think is going to go number one? Especially if you think somebody else outside of Kyler Murray is going number one, I would definitely love to hear the pick and the rationale for the Cardinals.
I can't wait to hear that because if they don't pick Kyler Murray or Nick Bosa, then what are they doing?
Well, Josh Allen, I heard, is really, really good.
Well, and I agree with that, but like most of these mock drafts barely had him in the top three.
I've actually seen Josh Allen up there in the earlier mock
In
drafts.
the early ones, yes, but this is like
Yeah,
the last mock draft before the draft. Like
but I
there
mean
was
that's
some
why.
that had him as low as like 8 or 10.
I mean, have you ever seen the movie Draft Day?
Yeah, of course I did.
So I mean, you know that anything could happen. All you need is Sonny Weaver Jr. to call up, and he'll take a guy that he could have got, later on to take number one. But I'm interested to see how it goes down. Of course, that's all tomorrow at 8 o'clock. I'll probably be watching the NFL Network, of course.
Of course.
hmm but I'm looking forward to it. I think the draft is always pretty exciting. Um, and I will see who gets the number one, the call.
It's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's gonna be fun.
Uh,
It's always a good time.
definitely. Now I know for the first time, well, not really the first time, but I guess it's the first time we're really introducing it as a topic. Some gaming amongst friends topics here. Uh, as there was a video that you watched that you wanted to share with the people, and
Well,
you,
and
you
we're not
wanted to
gonna
pose
share
some
the
questions.
video, of course, but
No, no, no,
we're
not
gonna need
the
to put
video.
that on Twitter actually, and I might do that
hmm
after the show. Not to think about it, but it was a very interesting analysis of
hmm
where did Madden 19, NFL Madden 19, go wrong. And the video by itself was 23 minutes, of course, and unfortunately, a lot of people today have really short attention spans when it comes to looking at things on social media. But that's besides the point. But I had a chance to watch the whole video, and a lot of the things that he was saying was pretty true. Now, I haven't played Madden that deeply. I think the only Madden that I legitly played was Madden '08, I think it was. That was with
hmm
Larry Fitzgerald and Troy Polamalu on the cover.
Gotcha.
So that was the only Madden that I legitly played. And I had a fun time. I played it casually. I wasn't trying to say that I was the best person, be like playing back in the 64 era with freaking
Sure.
GoldenEye. But
Wow.
he was making comparisons, and one of the ones that I wanted to talk to you about was the things that you can do in Madden 19 compared to things that you could do back in Madden 05.
Well, the one thing I would say right off the bat is that they made it somewhat mini transactional. And by transactional, I mean once they introduced the different catching. Oh, you can catch as a possession receiver, or you can aggressively catch, or
Mm-hmm.
you can catch on the run.
Yep.
It kind of changed the atmosphere. Like it kind of was one of those moments in Madden, kind of like the quarterback window, the QB
Yeah,
vision
I remember
when
that.
that yeah, when that first came out, it was really, really terrible. Oh God, hated it because it's like that to throw a pass on Madden, now you're talking about adding an extra element to something that should be pretty fairly easy. Like, you don't want the opponent to know where you're throwing the ball, so why would you have this
Mm-hmm.
window? You know what I mean? So it kind of put more emphasis and added more, you know, handicap for people playing offense.
Yep.
But now I feel like it's overly aggressive on defense, And honestly, and I'll be honest with you, whenever I play Madden and I'm playing by myself, I usually never ever play defense because offenses are kind of OP. The computer is OP, honestly, and I'll be honest, like they've made it so much better. Um,
Well, and it's
and
interesting
they
that you said that, though, not to interrupt, but he
sure.
showed a moment where um, there's scripted events as you're playing. So whether you're playing the computer by itself or you're playing against
Hmm.
another player,
I
where
believe
the
that.
computer will actually get a block punt or a block
Hmm.
kick
I believe
for a
that.
field goal.
I I was playing, and I tell you no lie, I was playing a game versus the Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
I usually quick sim. Like I said, I don't really play defense, special teams. I just play offense. I'm just curious about playing offense.
Yep.
So I went and finally scored a touchdown to tie the game up. I went to sim the extra point, and the dang kicker missed the extra point. And you want to talk about being super mad? I just was like, you know what, whatever. But honestly, I started playing defense, and the more I started playing, the more I was like, okay, it's not as bad as it used to be. But
Mm-hmm.
every game, I tell you no lie, and this is why I believe when he said it might be scripted. Every game, I give up a long run,
I believe it.
and whoever the running back is, he'll break two or three tackles to make that long run,
Yep.
or the blocking will be superb. And no matter how many guys I got in the box, he'll break free. Every game I give up one, and then I shut him down for the rest of the game. Or if I run an out route, even though the receiver has him beat, the cornerback is in perfect position and his reaction time is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's so perfect that he's able to break the ball up or or do whatever. But there are some things that don't work in Madden. Like I'll give you an example. Certain defenses just don't work. Um, I was able to throw the deep ball to Mike Evans about 6 times. Each time he caught the ball. Um, there are just certain things that just don't work. But I think that's one thing about Madden that it's become so transactional in the game that you have to do so many different things in the game,
Yep.
and I think that makes it kind of interesting. It used to not be like that. Like before, you used to have to, when you playing defensive line. I used to love playing defensive line. You used to hit the trigger buttons to do some moves, to get around your people. You should actually be able to do a speed rush, and not have to worry about swimming and all other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like you have to when the ball is snapped, you have to hit the right trigger. Then you gotta once you're engaged, you gotta tap X for finesse, A for power. You have to know which player you're playing with because If you're playing with a finesse defensive lineman, you got to make sure that you use finesse moves. If you're playing with a power defensive lineman, you got to make sure you're playing against power. You're playing power. Your offensive linemen have to be good at blocking power and finesse moves. It's just so much,
Hmm.
you know. Yeah, it's a lot. I'll be honest. Way too much.
No, and I agree with that. So it comes to my other point with the video where he was talking about, how people don't like the huge microtransactions in Madden 19, and they would use 2K19 as an example for their microtransactions.
So 2K.
Because I know that podcast beast right there is playing 2K19 like a beast. I won't play it. I
You
just
should
can't.
play it.
I can't.
I I think they're talking about different microtransactions though. Like, see, Madden has microtransactions in the game, like when you're actually playing.
Hmm.
The microtransactions that they're talking about in 2K is more about 2K just being kind of money hungry. You have to pay for dances and handshakes. The running that you saw that you said, I can't believe they have that in the game. With the hands behind the back, and I told you that they use it to run fast.
Yeah,
I
the
forget what
dinosaur
you
running.
call them. There you go. Yeah, you have that. You have scooters and bikes and things that people have to pay for. But those are the transactions that's kind of like, why do I have to pay for everything? Where last year you had to pay for haircuts and you had to pay for everything. So it was always something that you had to do
Yep.
to get it. But I don't think Madden and 2K are on the same level as when it comes to microtransactions. In my opinion, I think Madden in the game, it's all microtransactions because it's like you running the ball. This year, you can't actually hold the speed burst down until you're ready to hit the hole. Because apparently there's a mechanism in the game. Once you hold the speed burst, the defensive linemen get off their blocks.
Wow.
So yes, how ridiculous is that? So you have to hit the hole and then hit the speed burst once you get through it. But a lot of times defense like it's so like it's so crazy. Like that it's close to being real. Like so many people I've talked to say that they can't run a ball, but when you watch these tournaments, a lot of people run the ball
A
with
lot.
ease,
Yep.
you know. But it's like when you're playing against a computer, if you hit that turbo button behind the line of scrimmage,
Hmm.
a defensive linebacker, a defensive end, or a defensive tackle, whoever, or a linebacker will break off their blocks almost immediately. So you really have to be on your p's and q's. And I haven't really broken too many long runs against a computer, honestly. Now I will say with 2K, I mean I've had some great games.
Yeah, I was hearing it. I mean, I didn't see a lot when I was out there in the great state of North Carolina, unfortunately, but.
Yeah, I've had some great games. I mean, against a computer, of course, but I mean, you actually did see it. I mean, I had a whole bunch of rebounds one game you were there,
Yes. Yes, you're right
which
about
I'm a
that.
center. Yeah, I'm a center, so I was happy with that. Because then you got a chance to meet the pastor.
Oh, boy.
Shout out to the pastor, man. But ultimately, I think in regards to the microtransactions, I think Madden is really, really complex to a point where I think a kid would more likely play 2K than they would play Madden now because of those transactions. It's like I said, to rush the passer is tough. To catch a pass is tough
Yep.
because it's no longer just throw the ball and catch the ball. Where people used to be so great at user catches. Now it's like you throw the ball up and you have three different catching mechanisms
Hmm.
to go through. It's like, hey, I can either possession catch this, I can catch this on the run,
Yep.
or I can catch this aggressively.
I don't know. That's a lot.
And as a kid, you're like, oh God, how do I catch? You know, like, do I
Mm-hmm.
hit A? Do I? And then the tackle. Oh my God, there's three different tackling methods now. There's um there's aggressive tackle, there's standard tackle, and then of course you have the hit stick.
Is it the aggression tackle and the hit stick two the same things?
No,
No, no.
the
I'm
aggression
not. I'm
tackle.
not saying based off the game. I'm saying like just logically, that's the two of the same things.
I mean, sure, it's weird because it's like you can hit A to tackle. You can. I think A is it's like a regular tackle. X is a um X is a diving tackle, and then the hit stick. And of course, you can use the hit stick to hit down at the legs. Of course, you can flick it up to just make a regular hit or left or right or whatever. But it's so many different things.
That's actually pretty bad.
Yeah, it's rough. Um, it's rough.
But the last thing I
And
wanted
just
to
to
talk to you
just
about this video, because I know
okay,
we'll end up talking about Madden all night long. Like I'll ask you
yeah, and just
questions.
give you a quick update. Just give you a quick update. A minute and a half into the game, the Rockets are up 8-0.
Yep. I'm also watching the game as well too. So that is your Doc Lesnar stat update, courtesy of the
Woo!
Houston Rockets. Make sure you pay us money, Houston.
That's right. I want it. Send it directly to John Gotti and Scott.
Yeah. Mainly me. I think we need to get rid of Scott.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It might be time to
He's
get rid of all of them.
he's been dipping in the well a little bit. But the last thing
Might
I
be
wanted
time
to
to get
talk to
all
you
of them.
about with this whole Madden one was the glitching. And we all know how much I enjoy some glitching in games.
So let me tell you about glitches. It's in all games. So I think with the glitches, I'm sure they patch these things and they make it better.
I don't think not
And
as
that's
fast as like how
not
the division was fixing their stuff.
well. I haven't had any wacky things happen to me in Madden. I see the videos, but I haven't had any wacky things happen. I will say that there is a glitch in 2K that can give you that could get you a whole lot of virtual currency. I seen the video. I did an exploratory trial just to see if it would work, and I was able to confirm through the trial that you can use said glitch to get the virtual currency every day as much. You can only do it 3 times, which is weird. But I was like, well, let me just try it and see how this works.
Hmm.
Process is very process is very long. I hated it, but I was like, I'm gonna try it just to exploratory. And it's ridiculous that it works. So you think when I think now, if that glitch was around when the game first came out and people were doing that initially,
Mm-hmm.
getting hundreds of thousands of VC because it's like I think it's like 15,000 per person that you make, and you can make 10. You can make up to 10 people at a time. One being your main character. Let's say you do it 9 people. I mean, obviously 9 times 15,000 is a lot of VC.
Mm-hmm.
So those glitches need to be fixed. Madden glitches should not even be in the game. Period. The game shouldn't even be released. If they need to wait an extra week or two
Nope.
to fix those bugs, I
Nope.
would recommend they just wait the extra week or two.
Nope. They won't do it. They won't do
They
it, and
need
that's
to.
but that's how video games are these days. Like they're gonna have a massive amount of glitches. And this is what we talked about off the podcast for like the Street Fighter game. I told
Hmm.
you like, well, yeah, I would love to play Street Fighter, but the problem is they're gonna continually fix things, and then they're gonna come out with like newer editions and stuff. Like Street Fighter
Right.
4 had Street Fighter 4, Super Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 4 AE, and Street Fighter 4 Omega.
Gotcha.
Like that's why I don't buy certain games because they're always going to come out with re-releases. The problem with sports games is they tend to leave it there because all they know is they're still going to get money because people are still going to buy the game. And that was one of the things that the guy talked about on the video was that it doesn't matter how bad the game plays, people are still going to buy Madden and play it.
Right.
The things that they're seeing now, they think it's great, but, it's a lot of casual or brand new Madden players
Right.
playing these games now.
But I don't think
If
they.
you get those seasoned veterans, like those seasoned veterans aren't playing as much anymore.
True. And honestly, I think that now, and this is why something that you said earlier, is kind of funny. Um, when you think about it, the new introduction of the cards, the
Mm-hmm.
virtual cards, Madden Ultimate Team,
Yep.
NBA My Team,
Yep.
where you're basically playing a card game in the
It's
game.
it's gambling.
It,
It's
I mean, it's
gambling.
not really gambling. It's
It's
not
gambling.
gambling.
It's
I don't
gambling.
think it's
It's
gambling.
it's
I don't
it's a
think it's
game of
gambling.
chance. It's gambling.
No, no, no. It's not a chance. There's no chance.
No, no, don't sound like those studios. It's gambling.
No, 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 no. It's not gambling. There's no gambling involved. There's no risk. You can literally buy play. You can literally buy cards. Like you can buy it. It's just like playing. I don't know,
So
Yu-Gi-Oh.
it's just like gambling because you're spending money until you get the right stuff.
Mm, but that's almost
You literally
everything.
you
That's the entire game. That's 2K in a nutshell. People
yeah.
spend a lot of money to upgrade their
I
players,
know. That's
but
the point I'm making.
I don't think that's gambling though.
That's pretty close to gambling.
There's no risk. There's no risk involved. That's what separates from gambling. Gambling, there's a risk of losing, and this, you're really spending your virtual currency to gain. There's no loss. You don't really have to put any money. You don't have to put any real money into it in order to buy players. You just keep playing the
No,
game,
because you can buy virtual currency, then go
but
to
you don't
there.
need. You
Like
don't.
it's like a
But you
two
don't have to
level
buy it.
gambling rap.
But
And,
you don't
and
have
yes,
to.
and yes, you're right. You don't
Yeah,
have to, but the fact is, you
right.
can.
You can. There's no question about it. You definitely can. But I think that's what separates it from being gambling is that there's no real risk. Like they're creating potential risk of losing money and whatnot, but there's no real risk involved. I think it's just, hey, I want to be the best. I want to be on ESPN.
Mm, I don't think it's worth it. Like, hey, I'm on ESPN for like 3 minutes, and you only had to spend $3,000 to get to this point, and that's not including airfare and stuff. I think we lost the doc. Hold on, let's get him back. I think he was trying to
Oh,
make a point. There
sorry
we
about that. I
go.
don't know. I think some people are also getting sponsorships and whatnot.
Hmm.
Hey, hold on. This thing is like caught on my brace here. Sorry, that's what's happening. Sponsorships and brace, and money to kind of help them brace those costs.
Yep.
But honestly, I also think that yeah, I think the risk part is kind of tricky,
Well,
and
and that's
that
why
I think that
like they kind of you know it's presented in a way it doesn't seem like it's gambling, but it really is. But I can see what you're saying though. Once again, like
yeah,
I think it's
I,
gambling.
get-
Like
I don't
if
think
you look
so.
at it,
Yeah,
completely elementally, like it's pretty much gambling. But
do they gamble Yu-Gi-Oh like that?
no,
That's what I'm saying. That's what I think
no.
of it's just like to me. It's just like Yu-Gi-Oh and those
Like, are you
playing
talking about
cards, like
the card game or the video game?
the card game.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the same
That's
exact
not
concept.
gambling though. I mean,
That's what I'm saying. It's the same concept. It's the same concept. There's playing cards it's just virtually.
yeah, but you could trade with people and like
It's
I
the
don't
same
know.
thing.
I
It's
don't
the
know. Can
same
can you
thing. It's
trade
just
cards with
virtually.
people on the game?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I may have to do a follow up story on this one. I don't know. I feel like it's still gambling though, because I feel that way about like the Call of Duty games, like loot crates and stuff, and I
No,
dislike them.
yeah. It's just like playing cards. It's just virtually. It takes people away from, you know, just trading cards, I guess. And you're basically doing the exact same thing. People can trade the cards, they can sell the cards. You know what I mean? They can auction cards. It's pretty much the same thing.
Mm,
And come on,
mm, I don't know. I don't know.
you're not buying it.
Yeah.
You might have to take a look.
Yeah,
You have Madden
you
on.
know, I might need to
Yeah.
dive deeper into the meta.
Yeah, because what happens is once you start a My Team or an NFL Ultimate Team, basically you choose your favorite team, or I think usually, yeah, you choose your favorite team and then they give you a starter pack. Your
Yeah.
starter pack, you go ahead and open it up. They give you players, right? You keep giving you players until you have, well, I know in the basketball they keep giving you players until you have a starting lineup. Um, Ultimately, from there, you then move on to um, basically play with those players that you just received until you get a new player, whether it be free agents, whether it be, let's see, you get free agent cards, you get to buy at auction. There's reward coins that you get. Um, there's a few different ways to get cards other than spending money. That's why the risk is not there. It's just like you just play and then you just get more opportunities to get cards. So a kid could play my team or ultimate team, not spend a dime, even though parents probably would, give them a couple dollars here and there, but they could not spend any money and still build a pretty like I built a pretty solid team
Yeah.
with just playing the game. I mean, I got shellacked by a player, but it still wasn't too bad. It still wasn't too bad. But I mean, I think we should do more of this esports talk.
I'm never
Obviously
afraid to talk about it, man.
it could get heated.
You mean like how we
You
talk about whether or not
know, the two the 2K heated. Obviously, it could get a little. But I think it's good that we talk about it. And now the Rockets are winning 12-8, just to give a
Yep.
update. Um, but yeah, I think that was good. I know that we really are at end game.
We are, and every single week we provide final thoughts for your week to think about. And as always, we're gonna start off with the podcasting beast, Doc Lesnar.
Absolutely. And of course, before I jump into the final thoughts, I'd just like to say, of course, if you want to follow us, you can follow us at Debate Amongst Friends on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Twitter is at Debate Amongst Fra, but it'll cut you off once you get to the R. Um, the Follow myself, of course, at TL Double. Follow the professor at the Professor John Gotti. But yeah, definitely keep up with us. I mean, let us know what you think of the show. We're always looking for feedback, and we want to know exactly, what's on your mind.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But one of my final thoughts here, nothing too crazy. Chris Johnson will sign a 1-day contract to retire as a Titan, which I thought was classy. I do enjoy when they do go back for that 1 day, just so they can retire. But speaking of retirements, Beast Mode has retired for the second time, as he's decided to call it quits, will not be returning to the Oakland Raiders, but I wonder if he doesn't want to play for the Raiders anymore or if he's legit retiring. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he had a great career, one of the best runs of all time, and I'm happy for him.
I wouldn't
He
want
can
to
go
play for the Raiders either.
he can go on to move forward eating Skittles.
That's actually not untrue.
Right. Um, One thing that I did see that I heard that I heard was interesting, and I kind of enjoyed it. Russell Wilson,
There you go.
who who received his extension last week, actually bought 13 of the team's offensive linemen $12,000 apiece
Hmm.
of Amazon stock. So each lineman got $12,000 of Amazon stock, and I thought that was classy of him. And the radio personality said he'll probably have the least amount of sacks in the NFL. They guaranteed it. Big Ben got a contract extension worth $68 million, 2 years on the deal, which makes is going to make him one of the richest quarterbacks in the league. I think if I'm not mistaken, he's top three, which I'm not sure why they would do that because he keeps talking about retiring, but neither here nor there.
That's still going to be on the front office there. That is definitely on the front office, actually.
Absolutely. We don't do this very often,
Mm-hmm.
but the NHL Stanley Cup is at Game 7 between the Washington Capitals and Carolina Hurricanes. Right up the street from Hurricane Stadium, actually, but they are in Washington tonight. I'm hoping that the Hurricane can bring it home so people can celebrate here, but it looks like right now they're down 2-0 at the end of the first. But
First period.
I'm happy. First period. That's right. But I'm happy for the Hurricane, and I'm glad they gave us a good season. Two last quick thoughts. College basketball. We did have a Dookie and UNC signing.
Mm-hmm.
Duke
Mm-hmm.
signed Cassius Stanley, the number 29th ranked shooting guard out of California, third ranked shooting guard in the country, to wrap up their number one ranked recruiting class that consists of center Vernon Carey, Matthew Hurt, Wendell Moore, and Boogie Ellis. Duke was able to pull five players within the top 50, three within the top 25, which is outstanding. UNC also was able to snag two in the top 25, and Cole Anthony, who just signed. He's a combo guard out of Virginia, and another IMG Academy player, Amado Bakat or Bako. I'm not sure how to say that last name, but he's a big man out of Florida. But those are my final thoughts. I hope I didn't steal any of yours because I'm notorious for that,
Nah, 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 notorious.
for stealing final thoughts.
Well, the first one that I have, and I actually think I have a second one that I'll probably talk about as well too. But the first one, going back into esports real quickly, there was a tournament this past weekend, and I told the doc about this tournament, and I don't know how much he enjoyed me telling him about the finale of it, but his boy, aka the Peyton Manning of the FGC Punk, won a another Capcom Pro Tour event, taking first place, defeating pretty much a lot of the Japanese Street Fighter gods, actually, including your boy, the Demon Tokido, and the Beast Daiko Umehara. But it was quite a field in the top eight, though, is actually pretty incredible. In fact, I kind of wish I posted a picture that the top eight took together, because it spoke in volumes, actually, to be honest. But that
Hmm.
being said, another thing that's interesting is that same Peyton Manning of the FGC Punk is actually on top of the points leaderboard for the Capcom Pro Tour ranking, with 1,755 points, with Tokido behind with 880 points. Zygo is in fourth. The reigning Evo champion Problem X is third. Momochi, who is a former Evolution champion, is at sixth. Your boy Smuggles is number
Smart.
16. And this is as of right now, with Evolution just a few months away, in which
Mhm.
Dragon Ball Fighter Z, I believe, is still up top as far
Nice.
as the games for it. As far as the people signed up for the games. And my
Nice.
last final thought was something that I found interesting on social media today, where GameStop is partnering up with Non Parallel Institute, which is a nonprofit health um, facility out in Plano, Texas, and Power A, which basically creates some interesting and innovative accessories, built a autism awareness controller for Xbox One. So if you was
Nice.
to buy one of these controllers from GameStop, uh, they will actually donate $2 from that purchase to the Non-Periel Institute. So
Nice.
if you go to your local GameStop and you find a controller with hands raised up in the air with hearts inside the palms, pick it up because you'll be helping donate for a good cause.
Nice. Nice. I think there's one more that I think you should talk about, being that it's so relevant. You had an opportunity to watch the Mortal Kombat story.
Oh, you want me to talk about that? So
I
yes, so
do.
Mortal Kombat just came out for people. Of course, it came out earlier for a lot of people as well too. But one of the things that I enjoy doing for fighting games now is watching the story mode, because the story mode can tell a lot about whether or not your game is going to be good or it's going to end up being trash, which was how the initial Street Fighter V launch came out. And kind of is,
Mhm.
but that's besides the point. They still don't have anything for season 4, but that's besides the point. Watch button
That's not
check.
besides, right? Absolutely.
But so the Mortal Kombat 11 story was very interesting. And I don't know if I should put in spoilers. Should I add a couple of spoilers? So some main characters are actually going to die. Um, and when I say main characters, I'm talking about characters from the first Mortal Kombat game
Hmm.
will be dying in storyline in this game. It was pretty sad, but unfortunately, I'm still not a big fan of the person who does the voice of this person. You know who I'm talking about.
I don't. Why don't you tell the people?
You know who you WrestleMania. That's all I gotta say.
Wow, not WrestleMania.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about now.
Nope.
We are lying. You are a liar. Stop
You think
trolling.
I know? You think I know who you're talking about?
Main event for WrestleMania.
Main event for WrestleMania this year?
Yeah.
Dang, main event from this year. Was it a man or woman?
You just
Oh
want
yeah,
me
it
to
was
say it.
women.
Do
It was
you want me
women.
to just
It
say
was
it?
women.
You just want me to say it?
That's right. It was women. That's right.
Yeah.
Let's think here.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna have to be
It's okay.
careful
That
there,
that's
cause
enough. That's
yeah,
enough.
yeah. She
That's
almost she almost stepped out of office with that glare.
that's enough. You're talking about Rowdy Ronda Rousey?
I'm still not a big fan of her voice, but unfortunately, Sonya Blade did pass away rather early in the story mode.
In real life and in the game, apparently.
Ha! I see what you did there. Um, but the game was basically resetting the story. So there is the main villain named Chronica. is in control of time, and she wanted to reset time back to the beginning to help prevent a lot of the things that took place in the Mortal Kombat universe. In this particular timeline, mainly Raiden going all evil in the head and saying a nut brain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they basically brought the past characters from the past into present time. So it's really interesting to see things like Kano and Kano interacting with each other. He died.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Johnny Cage and Johnny Cage, like their interaction was hilarious. It was probably one of the funniest things throughout the entire story.
Wow.
As you watching and hearing young Johnny solemnly swearing to tap Sonya Blade,
Wow.
in which older Johnny Cage snatched him by the ear and dragged him outside. That was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
To more, really popular characters like the older Scorpion, who was no longer a Revenant, who became,
Mm-hmm.
Master Hanzo Hasashi. He passed away during, actually pretty late in the game, actually.
Hmm.
So, I mean, all in all, major main character became OP and basically destroyed the final villain. And there's three different endings. I'm not going to spoil the endings.
Yeah.
If
Don't.
you enjoy Mortal Kombat or if you're wondering what I'm talking about, make sure you order Mortal Kombat, support them out. That is a really nasty fall right there.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
But pick up Mortal Kombat 11. It is for pretty much most of the consoles. I don't know if it's on PC. I know it's also on Switch. So definitely give it a check out, though. Like I said, I enjoyed the story. I've yet to see what's going to happen in the tournament as far as tournament play, but it will be at Evolution 2019.
Which is a mystery.
I see what you did there. But yes,
I'm glad you. I'm glad you threw that in. I just wanted to hear it. I think the people wanted to hear it. A little gaming amongst friends never hurt anybody.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, if you want to talk about gaming amongst friends, since we're talking about it, let's talk about Team Neutralize in DC. Give them an update about what we've been doing.
Well, first and foremost, I mean, gaming amongst friends, where we risk it all for the XP. We are all maxed out. We actually just entered the Dark Zone, which was pretty interesting to do the quick, knock out the quick intro to the Dark Zone, which is pretty cool. Myself, I just hit 30. I know Professor's been 30 for at least a week or two,
Something like
at
that.
least, at least, maybe even longer. I mean, it's been so long. You've been waiting for us, and we finally catching up. I know that Duke just hit 26, and Shadow, the Dawn,
Shadow!
the Dawn, just hit 26 as well. So we're close to maxing out. Which if we can get a four-man rotation, I know L has been asking. When is he gonna get the call? I tell him when we're playing, you see us, we're neutralizing. Don't hesitate to jump on, neutralize.
Absolutely, and we're definitely
Uh,
working to try to fix some of the visual issues that we've been having where we want to be able to show a split screen of everyone's game. So we're still working
mhm.
towards that goal.
And you're doing a great job, man. I just want to throw that out there. And anybody's looking for somebody to do things like what John Gotti does. I mean, you just hit him up, man. Just hit him up.
Yeah, I think it's about time for me to do some gaudy teach series with Debate Amongst Friends where I just show some of the things that
Absolutely.
I've been doing behind the scenes and see if we can influence people because I mean we've been doing this for 3 years, sir.
Yeah, and the season is coming to an end. Once basketball season ends, we take a
Well, once
break
basketball season
until,
ends and once we do our final review along with the season end review show,
of course,
you
of
know,
course. That's usually the last one though.
yeah.
Because I don't know the I feel like the playoffs usually end on a weekend typically, and that kind of helps us. And then that Wednesday, the following Wednesday, usually we go ahead and wrap that up. Um, but we got weeks before that happens.
Hmm. And who knows? Maybe, just maybe, we might actually do a reaction live during the finals this year,
I think that would be awesome.
where you can hear our reactions for the game.
Yeah, yeah, especially if Houston's in it, because I think I make some pretty hilarious.
We have to make sure that what Earwife told me when I was out there doesn't happen on
Yeah,
stream.
when I, oh, we'll be very popular
No, we're gonna be off
for
the
the
air.
wrong reason.
We're gonna be
Yeah,
off
we'll
the
be
air
very popular
completely.
for no reason.
But ladies and gentlemen, thank you
Uh,
very much for tuning in tonight. You can catch us every
Absolutely.
single Wednesday evening right here on YouTube, Facebook, and also on Periscope. And hopefully the Periscope crew out there, they know that we love them, and keep on
Right.
supporting us out there as well too. Also, make sure you support Croup Dog, who did our intro track, one of the best intro tracks ever. We may actually go with the new intro for next season. So who
Yeah,
knows?
I could see that happening.
But tonight's outro track is by an artist all the way in France named You Hit. It's
You,
from his album back in 2015 called Modal View, which is a tribute album to Nujabes, who I talked very fondly of.
you did.
Hmm. And tonight's track is called, as soon as I find that, thank you. Silent Night for Nujabes. It's actually a really good track. We put the links to his SoundCloud and Facebook page on the descriptions for Facebook and on YouTube. So make sure you support our artists. We
Yeah.
appreciate it, and we know that they definitely appreciate it as well too. Make sure you show them some love. Make sure you also show some love to our other podcasts, Duke It Out, where Duke and Duchess talk about all of political, pop culture, uh, music, television, like all that stuff. It's usually gonna be a really good time, and don't worry, folks, they'll be back.
And then also, marking out amongst friends. I always want to, check that out as well. Wrestling podcast. And also, if you did want to ever hear the music, and I'll be updating that during the off season, all the music that we've played from season one, two, and once we get up and rolling, I'll get that uploaded for up to season three. You can catch that on YouTube as well, under Debate Amongst Friends Music.
Absolutely, and as we always say, the Doc is the backbone of this entire show. Without him, we got nothing.
I don't know about all that, but
Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Have yourself a good evening, and like we always say, goodbye. Mwah! And to all, a good night.